August. For those in India, alhamdulillah, they are all back in the country. Their fees have been fully paid. As I'm talking to you right now, inshallah, by the end of this month, in the next 1 week, hopefully, their certificates will be handed over to us, and then we're going to have a presentation
by the government
to these students. Just like we did with the Crescent University students in Abeokuta. Those ones were also students that were sent by past administration, and they were there for almost 10 years.
Yes.
They finished, but the certificate was not retrieved because the past government sent them there but refused to pay their school fees in Abeokuta. So when I came on board, I was given the mandate to take care of that problem. We have to travel to Abeokuta. We met up with the administration, and like I said, I always acknowledge the VC and also Ambassador Professor Ibrahim Gambari, who happens to be the pro-chancellor of that university. They played a great role in resolving the issue. And of course, His Excellency Dr. Delgado gave us his full cooperation and also made the funds available. So we were able to settle all that, retrieve their certificates. So in terms of the Indian students, we hope to do the same thing very soon, and we hope that Zamfara State Radio and Television will be there, inshallah, end of this month to cover, the process of this presentation to these students. We also have, some other situations within the country. The Sudan students, of course, when we took them to different universities. Some were in Sokoto, some were in Kano, some were in Bauchi. Alhamdulillah, all those students now are finished, they've graduated, and through the state government and the kindness of His Excellency, they were all settled. Let me not forget the nursing students. Those were also students that were brought back from Sudan. They finished, the government was able to organize their exams for them within the country. I had to travel to Egypt to retrieve their certificates. The payment was a lot, but thanks to His Excellency, the state governor of Zamfara State, Dr. Delgado, who, of course, one of his 6-point agenda is education. And honestly speaking, he at no point played with the issue of education in Zamfara State. So that is indicative of his seriousness by settling all these debts. As I'm talking to you right now, as the Executive Secretary of Zamfara State Scholarship Board, we do not owe any university, any institution, any school in the name of scholarship one kobo. Alhamdulillah. We are not owing anybody. We settled all that, and right now our agenda is to move forward from debt. We don't want to owe anybody. We are not owing anybody. We've paid everything, and we're happy to move forward. Moving forward means that we want to engage fully with our students in terms of the benefits of scholarship.
Before we get to that, Prof, our TV listeners, we are engaging Professor Rashida Lawal Iman, the Executive Secretary of the Zamfara State Scholarship Board. She is an academician from the academic environment. You have heard her how she is preempting on being the successes recorded by the present administration in that sector alone. You have almost digested the successes, but I believe there are some left behind. But before we continue with the success, there is this pronouncement by the Governor Dodalawa, state of emergency on education. How does that statement affect your directorate?
Well, we are one of the strongest beneficiaries of the state of emergency, because without that, all the attention that have been given to education, especially tertiary education, because that is our whole focus. Of course, we have the primary school board, we have the secondary school, and of course we have tertiary institutions. So the scholarship board is more focused on universities, colleges of education, and what have you, so anything tertiary institution. The state of emergency has really helped us. Because when I came in, I met the state of emergency, and like I said, we are one of the strongest beneficiaries of that state of emergency. That's why anytime we go to His Excellency, we remind him about his pronouncements, and we try to hold him according to his words, so that you are the one that declared this, so you have to give us the full attention that we need. Of course, I can go on and on about the so many achievements that the state of emergency on education has brought to the state in terms of development that we have in institutions and in the Ministry of Education. Let me give you one or two examples. For instance, we have the university Talata Buhari. That university, if you had gone there 5 years ago, it was nothing to write home about. But right now, if you go to Talata Buhari as a university, a state university in Zamfara State, honestly speaking, you will be fully impressed because of the contributions of infrastructure and equipment and the provision of virtually all the necessities that makes up a university. That university is a beneficiary of the state of emergency. We have the nursing college in Uso here. The first time I visited, honestly speaking, I was a bit disappointed because somebody that believes strongly in the okayness of an environment, because it impacts your productivity even as a student. So, but if you go to the nursing college right now, you will be fully impressed because of the things that is on ground. Infrastructure, the environment has changed. The students have been provided with equipment and facilities that they can use in their studies. Go to Zakas. I was in Zakas for the teachers training 2 weeks ago. Honestly speaking, it's a different space now because of the development that His Excellency has brought on board. So those are tertiary institutions that I personally can mention. We're not talking about the other contributions that His Excellency has made to other institutions such as FUG, such as even ABU Zaria, kind of contributions, because he knows that we have our state students there. So it's impacting all these institutions. Whoever wants to be honest and sincere will have no choice but to admit that the pronouncement of the state of emergency has positive impact on ground. Is something that we can see both long and short term. So alhamdulillah in terms of that. For my parastatal, the Zamfara State Scholarship Board, we have achieved so much. It's just that we are in education. It is never enough. It is never enough because they keep giving back to children. They have to go to school each year. We keep churning out students. They keep continuing because it's a continuous process. So whatever achievement that we have cannot stop. It has to continue. Because enrollment continues. So I can give you instances of what His Excellency has done to help support students within the context of the state. Zamfara State Scholarship Board is not just about financial assistance. It's also about mentoring students, guiding them towards and counseling what they're supposed to do. So in this area now, we have about 7, even 8 universities that presently we have sponsored students with the help of His Excellency, Dr. Delta. So I can talk about the university in Edo State, Ibinidion. Yes, we have students that are fully on scholarship studying as I'm talking to you. I'm sure they are rounding or maybe they are writing their final exams. They spent 1 year. We have nursing students in Nexus College of Nursing, that is in Katsina. These students were all girls that we sent because, of course, you know, in terms of the gender balance, we decided to pull at least 20 of our Zamfara State indigenous students to go there to study. So they are right now in Katsina. They are studying nursing. We have students in Al-Amin University, that's in Niger State. They are there also studying on full scholarship. And mind you, most of these institutions are very good institutions. They are well funded because the government is paying a lot of money for these students. I can mention just one as an example. In Al-Amin University, a student is being supported with 3.2 million per session. Yes.
Or per session.
Per session. So that's the annual per year. Yes. So, and all that responsibility is taken by the government of Zamfara State. So that covers them, and also, of course, allowances are given to them also throughout their stay. We have other schools like the Bigger College in Sokoto. We have our students that are within that college studying. We have about 50 of those students. They're fully funded by His Excellency. We have some in Sahel College. Sahel College is based there in Boso. So this college is primarily for students that are not well to do. Students that are not privileged. Most of them attend that, and of course we know they have financial struggles and challenges. So His Excellency has kindly given them full support in terms of their material, their school fees, and some of the things that they need in order to be able to achieve their aim and goal as students in that university. I've also mentioned, I think I mentioned Capital City University, where our students from Cyprus are there studying. Capital City is one of the best private universities in Kenya. We have our students also studying there. Like I said, I also mentioned Nile University. The students are going to start their academic session, inshallah, by the end of this month or next month. And of course, let me mention also University of Ilorin. Even though we had some issues with them, some of the students that we brought back from Sudan were settled in Ilorin. So we still have one or two of them. One, unfortunately, is presently very sick. Trying to see how we can come together and support him. But inshallah, I pray that Allah will give him complete shifa. Inshallah. So those are some of the things that we've been doing. And apart from that, support here and there. Because His Excellency is somebody that most times gives this support, but honestly speaking, he doesn't even want us to talk about it. He doesn't want us to mention it. But sometimes when we come out, it's important for the general public to be aware of some of these things. Personally, he is somebody that doesn't even like talking about it. We've given so many supports to other students, people outside of the country. For instance, we have instances where PhD students, master students, they are studying abroad. Some of them are studying within the country. They come right to us and we go to him, and His Excellency oftentimes gives this support in millions. And let me not also forget the big one. We have students right now that are studying in Aviation College in Zaire. Aviation College, of course, when that happened, we had a lot of uproar within the state. People were calling me, ES scholarship, they are asking my own child did not get support. I want my child to be a pilot too, and I have to keep explaining to them. Aviation College is different from other universities and colleges because they have a unique way of getting admission. They have processes that you have to go through. So as a scholarship board, it's not our responsibility to assist you with getting the admission. The Aviation College puts whoever wants to go through rigorous processes. Yes. It's when they've passed and they are ready to start the studies that we come in to intervene in terms of paying their school fees. But everybody knows that it's not somewhere that you can just walk into and they give you admission. So it takes a lot of rigorous process. The state government will come to the rescue only when you'll be offered your admission, and you've qualified to start your training. So right now we have students that we're supporting in standard pilot studies. That's those that are going to be riding or driving the aircraft. We have those that are into engineering process, so they are pilots, but they are into engineering, so they take care of the airlines. So those are the two studies that we have presently.
So in no small time, the Ganoda will produce a lot of pilots.
Inshallah, that is the aim of taking them there to study. And of course, you know, we have our own street now. We have our international airport. A lot of activity will be going on there, and that's why it's important that we give focus to education, because what we want to see is to see our indigenes be in charge of the destiny of the state. We don't want people from outside coming to take up the job
Opportunities,
that our own students, our own people can do. And that's why I always tell parents, I also always encourage students, babu abunda you are going to do in this life, ko Arabia, ko Western, you need to go to school, because all this would eventually benefit yourself, benefit your parents, and benefit your state, and even the country at large. So education is very important, it's paramount to everybody as long as you are alive.
So, distinguished listeners, before the profile kickoff of Zamfara State Airport, His Excellency already ventured into investing an educational professional aspect of aviation, where in no small time, lot of manpower to man the administrative affairs of Zamfara State Airport will be produced. His Excellency decided to appoint a new leadership to man the affairs of the State Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, and a lot of transformation programs within the shortest possible time of his assumption to office are taking place. Can you give us a scorecard of this young honorable commissioner of your ministry?
I think we have a governor that has foresight. Excuse me, sorry. And I think that's the reason he has decided to bring on board Malam Abdul Malik Gadam, the Honorable Commissioner of Education, Science and Technology, Ministry of Education of Zamfara State. This is a young man that is very innovative, and I'm one of those that is really excited about bringing in somebody that has new ideas, somebody that is not afraid of challenges, somebody that is able to innovate change, because sometimes we get used to a system and we think that change is not possible. But what he has done is to demonstrate that the ministry can be transformed within the shortest time. So I'm sure everybody in the state is feeling its positive impact, and that's why it's very important for you to bring on board people with ideas and people that are not afraid to make changes, no matter how difficult it may sound or it may feel. Honorable Abdul Malik is somebody that, you know, like I said, I'm happy to be working with, and as it concerns my own parastatal, which is my primary place of assignment, we're both cooking, if you like, in the kitchen to see what we can also do to affect the lives of our students in universities and colleges positively. Like I said, is somebody that is ready to do the work, is somebody that is ready to create positive impact and development. And very, very soon, you are going to be hearing some of the things that we have already started rolling out, but we have not publicly stated them. I don't want to preempt saying it here because I would prefer it to come from his mouth. I would like a situation whereby Honorable Abdulmalik Gajam will be the one formally rolling out some of these things. But I can assure you that since he came on board, we've sat down, we've done a lot of strategic planning concerning how we intend to move the Zamfara State Scholarship Board forward. Just like he has done concerning strategic plan and policy in education generally. As you know right now, the training of 250 teachers is presently going on. That is unprecedented. Where 250 teachers were brought together to get full training, not for a week, not for 2 weeks. I think they're supposed to be there for like 21 days to get full training. And you can see the impact already. The orientation of our teachers is changing, and hopefully whatever it is that they're able to get will be impacted into their students in the various local movements, because those teachers were selected from the 14 across the 14 local governments. So they are there presently now in Zakas receiving the training. Some of the schools that have been selected in the next, I think, few weeks, about 42 schools, secondary schools, will receive full refurbishment, will receive full renovation. In fact, some of them is total overhaul, complete. So that's just the first phase of the transformation. For the teachers training, the first set is 250. The intention is to train 1,000 teachers. Imagine 1,000 teachers receiving effective training. The multiplier effect is something that we will feel short term and also long term. So but let me come back home now to the practice scholarship because I try as much as possible not to go into other people's farms. Yes, I don't like going into other people's farms, but there is a lot to talk about in terms of education presently in Zamfara State. And Abdulmalik Gajam, honestly speaking, is a blessing to the state. I'm happy that His Excellency Dr. Dawda had the foresight of bringing him first as acting and then as substantive Commissioner of Education in the state. I'm not saying this because Abdulmalik is a young person, but we have a lot of young people that do not have the ideas, they don't have the capacity. But Alhamdulillah, he's a young man. He loves to say he's young all the time. And if there's any fight that we have with him, it's me always cautioning that they always say we are young. What are you trying to say, that we are old? But he's a very friendly, yes, well-endowed person in terms of his capacity to be able to do it. So congratulations to all of us. Personally, I look forward to working with him, and let's make the magic happen in the States.
So our listeners, that has been Professor Rashida Liman, the Executive Secretary of the State Scholarship Board. She has unveiled a lot of successes recorded by the present administration of Governor Dawda Lawal in the area of scholarship. You have had the foreign intervention, the national intervention, and even other extra responsibilities, which is not shouldered to the scholarship, but the Executive Secretary, you join, takes such responsibility and forward to His Excellency Governor Lawal, and without any iota of doubt, the Governor, because of his passion to education, approves the total sum of money, very huge one, and immediate release to support education at all levels. Prof, let me now take you back again to scholarship. That is where the main point is. Our TV listeners, especially now the students, studies at different, introduces Professor Rashida Liman as an academic personality. But along the line, very fortunately for her, she found herself in general governance and under political administration. You are not a politician, I'm not saying you are a politician, but you find yourself in the administration of a political regime.
Yes.
Led by His Excellency Governor Lawal. And this is a political year. His Excellency already declared his intention of coming back as executive governor for the second time. These are the kind of successes and achievements recorded in different sectors of the economy that the electorates use to assess the performance of a leader. And that is the only yardstick they are using of either to give him a second chance or not. But from what you have demonstrated here today, what is your intention as executive secretary? Because you are just a segment of education. And from what we have heard from you, if this does not continue, we will have a shortfall in some part of education. Will you call for the people of the state to vote His Excellency Governor Dauda Lawal for the second time?
Well, my prayer is that the love that Allah has for this state would continue. That Allah will not turn His back against the state. That Allah will continue to bless this state and also continue to bless us with a personality. Somebody that is futuristic. Somebody that has value. Somebody that has foresight. Somebody that has ideas like Dr. Dauda Lawal to continue as the executive governor of the Brazil. Because believe me, I'm not saying this and because I'm part of the government. I'm saying it as somebody that worked outside of this place. All my life I've been in academia and I know what it takes for you to have somebody that is forward thinking. Somebody that thinks outside of the box. Somebody that has a lot of ideas to govern a state. And within this short period, even if you do not like him, you have to admit the kind of achievements that we've been able to achieve and the things that we see. It's not like somebody tells you, you see it by yourself happening within this short period. So if there's anything that I want to say is to pray for Allah's blessing, because Dr. Dauda Lawal is a blessing to the state. And if Allah decides to bless us with somebody like that, our own prayer is for him to continue to keep him and keep him and keep him and keep him. Even if you ask me, I want to even go beyond the next 4 years, because everybody likes something that is good. Nobody wants something that is bad. But I'm sure even after and beyond a second term, and Allah will continue to bless us with people that have foresight, people that have the interest of the state at heart. So, and I'm sure it's not only me, my directors that are here believe strongly that is a blessing and will continue to be a blessing to us. And all of us collectively are also blessings to the state. All we need is to give him the full support that he needs, and inshallah, Allah's will be done, because everything belongs to Allah. Our own prayer is for him to bless us and have mercy on the state so that it continues, inshallah, 2027.
Amen. So let me finally give you a direct lead question. You are an indigenous of Zamfara State.
Yes.
Precisely a native of Usolo Kingdom. Can you, in summary, give me an overview of Usolo, the state capital, for the last just even 5 to 6 years and now?
Okay, I've come My house is here in Gusau. I come to Gusau virtually all the time for the past 25 years. Before even the 25 years of marriage, I've been coming to Gusau, the state capital. What I can say is it's like between day and night. The Gusau that we used to know in the past and the Gusau that we know right now is just like day and night. That's because of the difference. You know, before, when I drive to Wada market, or I drive to the old market, or I even go to our family house, when I'm driving, it takes so much time because of the potholes and the traffic and the hold-ups and all the challenges that I will have from my house to inside town. But do you know what happens these days? These days, I pass most of the places that I'm going to without even knowing that I've passed.
A lot of shortcomings.
Because of the easy drive. I'm speeding and I'm going, and I even pass some of the shops that I want to stop, and because it's so fast now. At night, as a woman before, of course I don't go out because everywhere is dark. But now at any time, at any time, even at 12 midnight, you will not believe it. I've driven in Gusau now at 12 midnight because everywhere is lit. There is light. The traffic is working. The city itself, it's just like when it's dark, it's daytime because of the impact of His Excellency on the state. And it's not just the state, because we always like to talk about something, but we have other local governments that have benefited from this development. It's not just about the roads, it's not just about the traffic, but even the people. The orientation of people in Zamfara State, whether we want to acknowledge it or not, has changed. Within these 3 years, people are now aware that change is possible. Before we're being deceived, it looks like all these things look like magic. But this is something that is doable. For those of us that have traveled outside of this country, that have lived outside the country, of course we know that this is something that is possible. Alhamdulillah, now we're seeing it, we're having it in our own state, and we cannot be prouder of the kind of leadership that we have in the executive governor of Zamfara State.
At least we have a state capital competitive to any other state capital in the Federation.
Gusau, London.
TV listeners, that has been Professor Rashida Liman, the Executive Secretary, Zamfara State Scholarship Board. But before we finally conclude the program, let me just give at least 5 to 10 minutes to our team and listeners for them to call and contribute into the program. This is the number we are going to use. Take it, 1, 2, 3, 070 69 18 41 40. I'll repeat the number again, 070 69 18 41 40. So, Prof, we are very much happy of having you in our studios this evening, and you have joined some very important personalities in the state by unveiling the success recorded by Governor Dalor and their respective ministries, departments, and agencies. The Scholarship Board is a directorate under the Ministry of Education, and it is a directorate that contributes to the development of education of our children in Zamfara State. You are now part and parcel of these contributions, and we have seen the impact, because our children that were left stranded in Cyprus were being evacuated by the present administration and being domesticated into some very reputable tertiary institutions here in Nigeria. You have made mentions also of Sudan, India, and other international countries. So we really appreciate you for updating the general public of Zamfara State about this development of the scholarship in Zamfara State. Because I see maybe there is nobody to call, but notwithstanding, we will continue to wait at least a minute or two. If there is no caller, then we round up the program. So our listeners, as I have said, today's engagement in this all-important program, Citizens Participation, is with Professor Rashida Liman. She is the Executive Secretary of Zamfara State Scholarship Board. And Alhamdulillah, on behalf of the management of Zamfara State Media Corporation, under the leadership of Malam Bello Abdullahi Yusuf Bunun Jengibi ANIFR, the entire directors and the management of Zamfara State AM Radio also, under my able leadership, the entire supporting staff, more especially those who man the studios this afternoon, Lawal Isiaka Uso, Salisu Muhammad Mada, and my controller program who is about to cast the news at 6. The management of Zamfara State Scholarship Board who accompanied Professor to this all important discussion. The Director Planning, Research and Statistics, Alhaji Ahmad Haruna. We have Vinat Dambaba, who are going to be the Director of Administration and Human Resources of the Scholarship Board. Then the custodian of cash, the custodian of money, Alhaji Umar Muhammad Bukwi, Director of Finance and Accounts, and the personal assistant to the Executive Secretary, whom we have been communicating also in order to have an easy access to Professor who had to attend this program. And Alhamdulillah, with his full support, Professor is here with us. And I hope both of us, Mujahideen Sharif, and our team and listeners, you were also being educated on what His Excellency is doing in the area of education and specifically at Scholarship Board. Next time, we are very much happy to invite you again.
Thank you very much for having me.
On behalf of everybody, our IT engineer, Umar Babangida Zormi, on behalf of myself, the presenter of this program, Babangida Umar Zormi, is saying bye for now.